Huey Lewis and the News with a #1 hit on my fancy playlist. I believe it was their second #1 hit. So happy to be stuck with you at #7 on my fancy playlist of September 6, 1986, up one from #8. Huey Lewis and the News, they were not, I wouldn't rank them with the Rolling Stones or the Beatles by any means. They're certainly not progressive musicians like Yes or Jethro Tull, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or Traffic. But boy, they put together some tight rock and roll, tight, savory riffs, lyrics, melodies, savory melodies, the tight rock and roll records like I'm trying to think of one they did, but Heart and Soul back in 1983, The Heart of Rock and Roll, The Power of Love in 1985, which I believe was from the movie Back to the Future. That was a brilliant movie. Remember watching that movie at the Tide Theater on the Strip here in Tuscaloosa back in the summer of 1985, and Won a New Drug back in 1984. Boy, and they had fun making their videos. There's this sense of just, hey, let's have a good time. Let's have a blast. It's almost like a keg party or something. And did a little research on. I came across this website where Huey Lewis answered some questions from his fans, and I was able to dig up some information. He can blaze away on that harmonica, Huey Lewis. He was influenced by the blues musicians like Lil Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson, who made a big comeback in England, particularly in England back in the '60s. Sonny Boy Williamson, the blues musician, but also influenced by more of the pop musicians. Well, the R&B musicians like, well, the singers like Otis Redding, Ray Charles. Let's talk about this video. I read a little bit about this video. First off, it's directed by a guy named Ed Grills, or Growls, Griles. Now, this guy's had a lot of experience filming videos. He filmed two huge videos, Girls Just Want to Have Fun and Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. It was filmed in the Bahamas, the video, all the shots on the island, underwater, all shot with Huey Lewis and an actress, a correspondent, uh, journalist. Her name Keely Shea Smith. I might be mispronouncing her middle name, Shaye. And boy, it was just, I watched a video again just a few minutes ago. And it just, God, just brings back a cascade of memories watching the video on Night Tracks. Late summer of 1986. And I gotta tell you, even though it's been 32 years ago, it feels like yesterday. It doesn't even feel, somehow, it doesn't even feel like you're stepping through a time machine. I guess it does in a way. It's just such a funny video, too. Boy, they had a blast. I know they had a blast doing this video. Now, here's the deal. The extras in the video, the band, the extras, and the models who appeared in the barbecue scene, they had to stay on a barge offshore so they wouldn't be seen in the rest of the video. A piece of trivia I picked up. Oh, also, the video was shot on a small island about 10 miles away from Paradise Island. Just one of these, it's the fantasy. It's a fantasy layered over with humor. Fantasy of being stuck on an island with a beautiful woman. It's a classic fantasy. Reworked, redone, reinvigorated by the guy who directed the video, Ed Grills or Griles, and Huey Lewis and the band itself. Well, the song Stuck on You, or Stuck With You rather, went to #1 in the States, went to #12 in England. It looks like they were pretty popular in the UK as well. Saw some questions for Huey Lewis from the UK on this website that I checked out. Got some fans overseas as well. Huey Lewis and the News. The thing about Huey Lewis and the News is this. Like Lionel Richie, like Michael Jackson, like Madonna, like Prince to some extent, Huey Lewis and the News, they were very successful mass appeal artists. They rocked hard enough to bring in the younger people, the young adults, and some of the teenagers, but they were not rambunctious enough to drive away the older, the 35 to 40 to 45-year-old crowd. Some of the older people in their 30s and 40s, they also liked Huey Lewis and the News. Even some in their 50s. Fun in the sun, rock and roll, baby. That's what it is. So happy to be stuck with you by Huey Lewis and the News at number 7 on my fantasy playlist, September 6, 1986.